Well, amazing ways to live in the desert, okay? Ready. Oh, yeah. Damn it. What the?
I love living in a place.
I love living in a place where I get to enjoy rainy weather because I love the smell of rain. Really?
Place where I get to enjoy rainy weather because I love the smell of rain. And Squeak
Oh yeah. Okay, rain does have smell.
likes jumping in the puddles.
And Squeak, who squeaks? I mean that mouse. And Squeak like jumping in the puddles.
But there are some
places where there's almost never any rain.
places where there's almost never any rain. They're called
deserts, and they're the driest place on earth.
deserts. And they're the driest places on earth. In deserts,
there's so little rain that sometimes you have to wait a whole year just to get an inch.
there's so little rain that sometimes you have to wait a whole year just for one rainstorm.
Just for one rainstorm, yeah.
So things that
live in the desert, like plants and animals and even people, need special
live in the desert, like plants and animals and even people, need special ways
to survive when there's so little water.
to survive when there's so little water. They also need
special ways to deal with the temperature in the desert.
special ways to deal with the temperature in deserts because
deserts aren't just very dry.
Deserts aren't just very dry. They can also
be hot or cold.
Be very hot or very cold. Hot deserts
are the kind of deserts you might have heard about before.
Deserts are the kind of deserts you might have heard about before. They're incredibly
hot, like just as hot as the middle of the summer.
Just as hot as the middle of the summer all year. Though
they can get pretty chilly at night.
They can also get pretty chilly at night. Hot deserts don't
have a lot of big leafy plants that help provide shade.
Have a lot of big leafy plants that can help provide shade during the day.
Or anything to hold in heat at night, like a blanket.
Or anything to hold in the heat at night, like.
Wait, does that mean that deserts are sleeping or something?
Like a blanket. But not all deserts.
Are hot.
There are
actually cool deserts too.
Cold deserts too. During the summer.
Oh, the Gobi Desert. I haven't heard about it. During the summer, cold deserts aren't too cold, but when it gets to winter, they're freezing.
Cold deserts aren't too cold, but when it gets to be winter, they're freezing. When you think of the
when you think of the cold, you might think of snow.
You might think of snow, but it hardly
ever snows in cold deserts, even though it's so cold. Like here, it doesn't even snow when it's still in the middle of the winter.
It hardly ever snows in cold deserts, even though it's so cold. There might only
be a tiny bit of snow or rain all year.
Be a tiny bit of snow.
How much? 1 inch or something like that?
Or rain all year. Whether their desert is hot or cold.
Whether the deserts are hot or cold, all the plants and animals that live in the desert.
All the plants and
cactus, desert fox, camels, snakes.
Animals that live in deserts have to be really
well prepared to live in such an extreme place.
Well prepared to live in such an extreme place. One of the
main things that's hard about living in the desert is that there's so little water.
Main things that's hard about life in the desert is that there's so little water.
Yeah.
So Squeak.
Yes, that mouse again. So Squeak, what do you think plants or animals can do to make sure they have enough water?
What do you think plants or animals can do to make sure they have enough water?
Really? That makes me touch the toy. Squeaky. Oh, you serious? She's just talking to a mouse. Really? Can Squeak really say? Squeak looks like a robot. Are you serious, Squeak? I'm just thinking you're just a time mouse or something like that. That's right. Squeak just answered like squeak. Really? You're just joking. Forget it.
Right. Some of them have.
Wow, you're true. Some of them have special ways to hold on to whatever water they can find. Just searching for a year.
Special ways to hold on to whatever water they can find. Like a
cactus.
Cactuses.
Yeah, cactuses Yeah, the reason why cactuses don't have weeds because because through a process called transpiration, water evaporated quickly. Yes, a plant did lose water, so it needs water for rain or something like that. But cactuses don't have weeds and they have thorns because thorns are like weeds. They didn't have anything like a stomata to like making transpiration possible. So there is a stick to the water they used to. And whenever it rains, they just collected enough water to last another year and then so on.
These are plants that live in deserts.
Cactuses are plants that live in deserts and have thick stems where they can store
deserts. And they have thick stems
and thorns
where they can store water
for a long time without evaporating it through transpiration.
For a long time. It's almost
like they're building a water bottle built in their bodies.
Like they have a water bottle.
Wait, so you mean that cactus is a machine? Really?
Bottle built into their bodies. So even though
it doesn't rain very much, whenever it does rain, a cactus will soak.
Doesn't rain very much. Whenever it does rain, a cactus will soak up
lots of water and save it up so it has water until the next time it rains.
Lots of water and save it so it has water until the next time it rains. But that's not
the only way to get water when it hardly ever rains.
Not the only way to get water when it hardly ever rains. Squeaks!
Again?
Do you know what?
Squeaks, do you know what kind of animal is this, Squeaks? Oh, I know this. It's just a jackrabbit.
What kind of animal this is? You're almost
right. Wait, what did Squeak say?
Right. It does look a lot.
Oh yeah, it does look like a bunny rabbit. It's actually different. Look at it. Let's zoom back a bit. Here, this animal has big ears. And what about this guy? Really? But forget. It does look like a rabbit.
A lot like a bunny rabbit, but
it does look like a lot like a bunny rabbit, but actually it's a different kind of animal.
This is actually a different kind of animal called
a jackrabbit.
A jackrabbit. Jackrabbits live
in the hot deserts of the United States and Mexico. And they mainly get their water.
Live in hot deserts in the United States and Mexico. And they mainly get their water from
the plants they eat.
From the plants they eat. They also do
something kind of funny to make sure to get as much water as they can. They eat their poop or something?
Something kind of funny to make sure they get as much water as they can. They eat their poop.
Disgusting! And you know what else? Other animals do. Other animals do the exact same thing, but I don't know what.
This way they can get
any water that have been left in it. But to me, it's still disgusting. Ugh.
Any water that might have been left in it.
Whenever I see a jackrabbit trying to eat their poop or something, I will just give them water bottle, just to make sure. The other thing that's really hard about living the hot desert is that it's so hot.
The other thing that's really hard about living in a hot desert is that it's so hot. That's why
jackrabbits have those huge ears.
Jackrabbits have those huge ears. They're big
so that jackrabbits can cool off very quickly because their blood vessels there, and their blood vessels were really hot, so they just throw their heat out. Just like an elephant. Elephants have huge ears, you know? So they're the same example. Elephants do the same thing as jackrabbits. They also live in the desert.
Big so the jackrabbit can cool off really quickly. Also,
jackrabbits don't do much during the day when it's hottest.
Jackrabbits don't do much during the day.
Elephants didn't do much too, but just stroll around just beeping or something like that.
When it's the hottest, they sleep.
They sleep instead under the cool shade of cactus.
Sleep instead. They're mainly
active early in the morning and in the evening, maybe at 3 a.m.
Active
when the sun isn't as
early in the morning and in the evening, when the sun isn't as high in the sky.
Oh, it's a little cooler, but not too cool during the night.
And it's a little cooler. They're also
they're also active at night. They sleep during the day and active at night.
active at night. But what about